Good morning.
How are you?
Great in yourself?
I'm well. I thought I heard an echo. I guess I
I
don't.
didn't. Not me. Thank goodness.
I know when I do the playbacks, I'll be hearing an echo. I don't know why. And I think it's because I'll be hearing it's coming out of my speaker and my mic is right here. And so I think that's what's doing it. I don't know. We'll figure it out though. That's
Okay.
why I got the headphones in today. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Welcome. This week. How is let's start with you. How has your week been?
Can I tell you? Awesome.
Good for you. I'm glad it's been awesome for somebody. Ah, I need to make a disclaimer. Good morning, Crafty Coder. Good morning. Good morning. I need to make a disclaimer. I feel like my face. I need to get higher. Wait. There we go. Let's do it that way. Wait, but then this isn't white. Whatever. Okay. I need to make a disclaimer about our show today. Because the more I researched, the triggered I became. And so if you're easily triggered, like I guess I am, this may be triggering for you. So let me warn you in advance. And um, as I prayed on this content today, I'm gonna try to make it all come together. I feel like it's gonna come together. I don't want to be scattered and all over, but trust and believe there is a message. There's a message for today, and I hope you get it. Was that a good disclaimer?
Hey, look, we'll see.
And I'm gonna try not to be triggered again today on camera, because that's gonna be the real test. Because I've been going off. Okay. All right. Now that I got that out. All right. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the Saturday morning tea where we discuss usually health information. Well, it's still part of health information news, education, certification tips, entrepreneurship, uh, them OIG streets, because yeah, there's some things still happening over there in the OIG that you need to know. Um, and today, just some real life ish out here in these streets that we all need to be either reminded of or aware of. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. I hollered yesterday when you sent me back that text that I was sending you your love language.
Mm.
Literally, I was in the store and I fell out laughing. Hollered. Because I think that started some of the triggering as well. All right, all right. So as you come in, please don't forget to hit um, the thumbs up or the like button. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearl. And Merry Christmas, but we'll get there. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, the founder and senior education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, where coding education is key. And PRN is a healthcare compliance consultancy located in Cincinnati, Ohio, that specializes in revenue cycle and regulatory compliance and education. Now, let me ask you, probably if it's not the last time, the second to the last time of this year, do you know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder? Do you know? Hopefully by now you do. If you don't, before I introduce my co-host, let me share with you information on a free, yes, free 99 email course on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start and scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder. The music gets me though. All right, all right. So, if you are interested in receiving more information about the email course on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder, check out the description box below. There is a link, and you can click on that to get all the information um, that you need. Okay, so joining me today is my illustrious co-host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. Put some respect on his name. I'm still so proud of that. I love that. I love that for you. The coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I have been a nurse for 3 decades. In 2014, I transitioned uh, away from the bedside into medical coding. During the pandemic in 2020, I created a company, the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other healthcare uh, people with clinical backgrounds transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
And how's everything going?
So far, so good.
Good. I'm gonna pull and lean into your wonderful optimism today. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. All right. That's just tickling me. So before we jump in, let me remind you that this is a conversation and we want you to add to the conversation. And in my spirit, I feel that you will, especially today. So don't be shy. Your opinion matters and is welcomed here. Good, bad, or indifferent, it all matters. Your opinion matters. So if you have questions, please put a Q in the chat so that we know it's an actual question. Otherwise, feel free to chat to your heart's content in the chat and joining in on the conversation. So, for those who are just joining us or watching the replay, today we are talking about standing on business. Now, it's a lot of business that's going on in these streets, and we're going to talk about standing on it all. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about our church announcements. Shall we? I think we shall. Maybe that'll calm me down a little bit. How about that? I'm channel my inner okay. Need you today. And I started to cheat because I saw some like Christmas white gloves, and I was like, no, I need real gloves. I will not cheat. I will not cheat. Okay. So our church announcements for today. Oh, Lordy. It's been a morning. Wait a minute. What is she saying? We got the usher fingers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Join right on in. Join right on in. Okay. Our church announcement today is that there has been some OIG movement on the fraudulent nursing diploma scheme. There have been some more federal convictions. Earlier this month, on the 15th, a jury in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, found defendants Gail Russ, who was the registrar of the Palm Beach School of Nursing, Cassandra Jean or Jean, I don't know if that's a French name. We're going to say Cassandra Jean. Owner and operator of Success Nursing Review in Brooklyn, New York, and Villaire DeRosso, owner and operator of the Center for Advanced Training and Studies in West Orange, New Jersey. They were guilty of wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud charges after a 3-week trial. Um, they were charged along with 11 co-defendants for their involvement in a scheme to sell fraudulent nursing degree diplomas and transcripts obtained from 2 private nursing schools that at one time were approved by the state of Florida to issue diplomas and transcripts to individuals seeking licenses and jobs as registered nurses and licensed practical or vocational nurses. These diplomas and transcripts allowed the um, purchasers to sit for the National Nursing Board exam, and after passing it, to obtain licenses and jobs in various states as RNs or LPNs or LVNs. Um, the scheme involved the distribution of more than 7,600 fake nursing diplomas by Palm Beach School of Nursing and, I cannot say, Quizziquay School of Nursing, LLC, in Palm Beach County, Florida. These schools are now closed due to the excessive failure rates of their students taking the state nursing board exam. I guess that's a plus there, that they did not pass the nursing exams. Those nursing applicants who passed the National Nursing Board exam used the fraudulent diplomas to obtain RN and LPN or LVN licenses and nursing jobs with unwitting health care providers throughout the United States. An additional 11 defendants entered pleas of guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. And in total, 27 defendants were charged and convicted in 2023 for their participation in this nursing diploma fraud scheme known as Operation Nightingale that created an illegal licensing and employment shortcut for aspiring nurses. So, some more folks have been bitten by the OIG regarding their involvement in the diploma nursing scheme. Mr. Jesse, you have any comments on that?
My only comment is, you notice they haven't mentioned anything about the people who have their licenses.
I'm waiting on that one.
Because I don't think
If
anything.
ever.
I
Because
don't
I
think
mean,
anything's gonna happen.
yeah, that's a mess. Well, be careful out there. Check them nurses when they working on your people. Somebody was telling me somebody couldn't get a vein to save their life out of their arm. I was like, maybe they went through the easy route. I don't know. Just be careful out here when dealing with these nurses. And not all of them. It's just a small portion because there are thousands and thousands of nurses. All right. All right. So next, before we begin talking about standing on your business, let's get some context. So what does standing on your business mean? So standing on your business means to take care of your responsibilities or put your money where your mouth is. You get done what needs to be done and follow through. Similar to the term taking care of business. According to the Urban Dictionary, the phrase is defined as to take care of your business or obligations, to be about your grind, meaning completing tasks that need completing, or when faced with a situation, you are urged to handle your own affairs. If you're standing on your business, it means that you are sticking to your values and walking the walk, not just talking the talk. I think that's where we're going to sit with this one right here. Yeah, someone who is standing on their business is, in essence, doing what they're supposed to do. Doing what they're supposed to do. And then this article goes on about where it came from, blah, 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 blah. So, like I said, we're going to talk about standing on your business. I'm trying to see which way I want to go. Because it's so much. It's so much today. Let's start here. So, if you are a member of AHIMA, you should have received an email announcement that talks about our new CEO, Dr. Kevin Clower. On December 18th, AHIMA announced the appointment of Kevin Clower, who is who has the following credentials or certified: DO, EJD, FACEP, FACOEP, as its new Chief Executive Officer, effective January 8th, 2024. Dr. Clara's broad background in healthcare delivery and association leadership uniquely positions him to guide AHIMA into a future of growth and innovation. As CEO of AHIMA, Dr. Clara assumes the pivotal role of being the visionary leader who will lead the organization into the future. He will position AHIMA to achieve its growth goals, provide strategic leadership, and ensure professionals working with health data are prepared to thrive in a rapidly changing healthcare landscape. So they go on and on and on. AHIMA's president chair of the board, Jennifer Mueller, also says they're thrilled to welcome Dr. Clower, yada, yada, yada. Dr. Clower was formerly the system chief medical officer of HCA Florida Ocala, if I'm saying that right, and West Marion Hospitals. He also brings healthcare experience from senior executive positions as the American Osteopathic Association, Team Health, which I saw a lot of comments about him on Team Health, and the American College of Emergency Physicians and Emergency Medicine Physicians. So all is great. We have a CEO. If you kept reading in the email, there's a little tidbit that may tickle your fancy. And that is Dr. Clara will replace Amy Masser, who has been interim CEO since June. Masser, a critical and impactful member of the AHIMA executive team since 2019, will become president of HC Pro LLC, a for-profit, wholly owned subsidiary of AHIMA. We talked to you all about the acquisition of HC Pro. Now we have Amy Masser, who is part of AHIMA. She was the interim CEO, who will take over for the presidency of HC Pro LLC. Mr. Jesse, any comments?
After you.
So, one of my first things was, as far as that appointment, that's quite interesting because now we will have AHIMA leadership over, ultimately over HC Pro, which indirectly, I guess, or so, over Actis, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was one of the interesting things to me. And so curious as to the pulse of any of the Actis members in that regard. But then once I saw this, I was like, okay, here we are, changing the face again of AHIMA. We got a lot of drama happening right now with AHIMA. It's going to be an interesting 2024. So then I kept digging. And Miss Rose T. Dunn wrote an article in the ICD-10 Monitor that came out December 4th about 2 things she learned at AHIMA's 2023 convention. There's a whole bunch of stuff. She talked a lot about the AHIMA certification, the new requirements that have been postponed, yada, yada, yada. But the one thing that she talked about that caused my nostrils to flare a whole lot. And for those who know me personally, they know what that nostril flaring means. Well, there are 2 things. There were 2 things. Let's start with one, but they're all related. So, she said, Of course, much has changed since October, but we were told that the AHIMA Board of Directors is again considering CEO candidates who are not credentialed members of the association. We were told that no qualified credentialed professionals applied. She says, really? AHIMA has 63,000 members, and there are 100,000 credentialed professionals in the U.S., and no qualified credentialed professionals applied? That was interesting. The non-credentialed interim CEO shared that there was an active reach out to credentialed professionals who were urged to apply. Again, Ms. Rose Dunn said, really? I contacted several reputable credentialed individuals and a few past presidents, and they had not been contacted. I wasn't contacted to recommend anyone either. Are we headed for another single candidate ballot again? So at this point, she says it's probably too late to tell you to apply. And again, this article came out December 4th. So yeah, it was too late at that point because we get the email, dude is already at the helm. But she provides the information. And then this where she says accessing publicly available information, the 2021 compensation for the last non-credentialed CEO, Lisa Wiggs Harris, was reported as $647,000 on the 990. And then it says the associate. She put the information about the association there. So then she asked, how many health information directors, even large system executive directors who are on call 24/7 and dealing with patient care issues, are being paid at this level? I don't know, but ask how many CEOs of those health systems, what those salaries look like. Let's start there.
Thank you.
It may be time to consider that a role overseeing fewer than 150 staff members should be focused on the members, and that any role that doesn't deal with the critical patient care issues daily should be at a compensation level that is considerably less than $647,000. I suspect we'll be hearing the board's choice soon. So don't hesitate to tell the board what you think. You elected them to represent you, and your dues pay for AHIMA staff and the board's expenses. So that was from Miss Rose T. Dunn. So again, my triggering began because number one, I went out and took a look at the 990 myself to peek all the information. And I think she quoted salaries from 2021. I believe the salaries from 2022 were available as well. And wait, let me share my screen. Let's do it this way. You all should be able to see this, right? Okay. So this was the 990 for 2022. And I'm trying to get to the salaries. I'm sorry. Okay. So here it says her compensation was $738,038, but it's not under the reportable compensation from the organization, meaning her W-2, 1099, etc. It's in the column under reportable compensation. I don't know why my phone is ringing. Reportable compensation from related organizations. So they're W-2, 1099, etc. And then it lists some of the other um, salaries and compensation from other folks in the organization. But then it also lists like the board of directors and stuff, even though they don't have any salary information listed here, but they list them as well, and the executive director of AHIMA. So one of the reasons why I went back to look at that, and then I also went to the 2021, and this is from ProPublica, where you can any nonprofit organization that has to file a 990, you can get all the business right here on ProPublica. But again, I'm sorry if this is triggering with this movement. Again, this is where she quoted the 647. Again, it's over in this E column here. So I looked up like what does that necessarily mean from on the 990, and it includes not only your base salary or base compensation, but also like your retirement contributions, any bonuses that you may have received, also any payments that were earned in the prior year that carried over, your any severance packages, all of the things related to that. And I also believe, so I'm saying all of that to say, me personally, I believe she earned every dime that they gave her. They gave it to her. She was worth every dime they gave her. How about that? Or she earned every dime that they gave her. If she did what she was supposed to do, if she met the metrics according to her job description, yada yada yada. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm probably, so our new CEO 4 years ago or so was compensated at $400,000 at one of his previous employers. Well, because he's job hopped quite a bit in the last few years. So I'm probably more certain that his compensation should be similar, if not, well, we'll get to probably why it's even way more. But I didn't hear the whole. I remember when Dr. Wylisa became CEO, and I remember the grumbling of, well, who is she? Where does she come from? What makes her qualified? This, that, and the third. I ain't heard a grumble yet regarding this new CEO. And they began talking about her salary even way back when. Again, I haven't heard anything mentioned about this man's salary yet. So this led me to do some additional, wait, I don't know if it's going to do this. Let me see. Additional talking and looking and seeing. And then unless you've been under a rock, or maybe not just in tune, you heard all the things that has been happening even in Hollywood about the disparities with folks and their compensation, particularly the actresses and probably other folks working in the whole Hollywood. I was thinking the Hollyweird because I heard somebody say that recently, and I chuckled on that. But in Hollywood, with the disparages in their compensation. So there was a article in Essence um, that talked a little bit about. I'm trying to see how I'm gonna tie this. So I don't know where to go. Just go where I go. Y'all just follow me. So this article in Essence talked about um uh how applicants are more likely to be ghosted by recruiters.
Which
Um,
applicants?
that black applicants are more likely to be ghosted by recruiters than whites. So I also thinking about, oh wait, this is not showing. Hold on, let me make sure my screen shows. Okay. So I was thinking about what Rose T. Dunn said, that there weren't any qualified credential applicants. I'm curious to know what that list that she may have had, or who she reached out to. What did that look like? Who was on that list? I know a few folks, even me personally, who have made wonderful CEOs. They probably went on her list though. But anyway, so this data shows, says if it feels like the job market is harsher, it's not your imagination. Now this is data from a UK based firm, and they're talking um, about UK employers. But I think this also applies over here on this side of the pond. It says a report included, new data from this firm revealed that nearly 6 in 10 of those surveyed shared that they had been ghosted by UK employers following a job interview. The report includes findings from 800 employees based in the UK who were asked about their perspective of the current labor force landscape. Amid many revelations, the most shocking point pertained diversity in the applicant pool. According to the report, underrepresented candidates face a 20% higher chance of being abandoned during the interviewing process in comparison to white candidates. It says that almost 40% of respondents who identify as black face discriminatory questions during a job interview compared to 31% of white respondents. The report highlights that workplace expectations have changed significantly since the pandemic. Hybrid work is seen as the new norm given its proven success over the last few years. Also, salary transparency is sought after more than ever before, and organizations need to adapt to this new era of recruitment conditions or run the risk of missing out on top talent and ultimately business success. I'm trying to think, was there more that I wanted to say on that? No, that was it. So, Mr. Jesse, feel free to jump right in before I get to my Instagram post.
Okay, so well, I have more of a problem. I have less of a problem with Dr. Wylesia being the president because she has her PhD.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe that a medical doctor should be in charge of a HEMA.
Okay.
Period. So I just don't know how that's going to benefit the organization.
Or DO. It's the same difference, but yeah.
Yes, he's the doctor. I
He's
mean,
still a
I
doctor.
just I just don't because
Physician.
right,
Yes.
because it's a mindset.
Uh-huh.
And how is he going to improve you being a member,
Relations.
being a member? Exactly. How is he going to enhance that? Like what? Because first of all, like anybody, most people in healthcare know the HCA is trash. It's horrible.
That's why I was very uh, clear to point that out.
So I would me personally, I have more of a problem with him being a doctor than him not being credentialed. And there are doctors. I work with doctors who are credentialed.
I do too. I know
So
several.
I
I know
just,
several.
and so it just seems to me that, truth be told, they picked who they wanted to pick, because they have international executive search firms that can find anybody you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
because it's their job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not believing that no qualified applicants applied. I don't believe that at all. I believe that this was some typical old boy stuff that they worked behind the scenes, you know, and I just think that this Rose T. Dunn person is just muddying the water by trying to you know low key bring race into it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because if she's upset about Dr. Waleesi's salary, we know good and darn well he's going to be making way more than her.
Way more than her.
So
Everything in the world tells you what that hierarchy looks like. And if she at the bottom, so you have white men, white women, men, black women, good and daggone well.
because
He's sitting on
what
stacks on stacks on stacks.
because what they should be worried about, and truth be told, to me, when I looked at what the information you sent me, Ahima ain't making no money.
No.
So instead of trying to get a instead of getting a doctor, they need to get somebody with a daggone MBA who knows how to generate some income.
All right. That's part
I'm
of the
done.
problem. And I think they got a whole, we talked about this before. There's a whole identity crisis over here at Ahima, a huge identity crisis. And it's unfortunate, and we all caught up in it. We are all caught up in it. Yeah. And I forgot to mention that, so I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, because what they gonna do? What is what is I'm confused. What will he do? I'm curious to know how this is gonna all shake out. I'm curious to know.
Help them come out with a new practice query brief.
And have AI take over all kinds of
Hmm.
because
But
they feel
me,
like AI is the end all be all to everything.
but meanwhile, provider documentation is still going to be horrible.
Trash. Trash. Somebody needs to be over there helping them document appropriately so that all these things that we are running into and seeing on the back end can be helped, can be rectified, can be taken care of. So we could be standing on the business. How about that? How about that? Whew. Okay. Let's see. Crafty coder. Call me Ti, son. That's how I'm standing on business, ma'am. Hostile takeover, right? And at all, like who said bring in Doc? I don't know, but I feel like all of this was intentional. I think all of these announcements, all of this information, all of this stuff is intentional. But trust and believe, members have a voice. Members have, not only do you have a voice, but you also have a bigger voice with your dollar in everything. Dollar speaks volumes. And folks already in turmoil and dire straits, what's that dollar gonna do? Hmm? All right. So then also, I hope I get to play this with the. Let's see. Let me see. Let me present. Share screen. It says the audio. Okay. Let me share this other little bit of information that I have. Uh-oh.
Now, Just yesterday, Taraji P. Henson went viral for releasing her frustrations about the pay gap that exists in Hollywood between black women and basically everybody else. Now, the conversation between black women's wages versus white men's wages is not a new thing. Black women are consistently making 1/3 of what white men make, or 64% of white men make. White non-Hispanic men. This means that the average black woman would have to work an additional 208 days a year to catch up to white men. And a 2 + 2 = 4, 365. The math not mathing on a working class level. These women lose out on an average of $53,000 a year, which over a career period is $2.1 million in a lifetime that we're not making, that white men are making. And I know you're saying, yes, that's regular people problems. Taraji's an entertainer, Taraji's an actor. But as a great rapper that I can't remember right now once said, more money means more problems. Hello? Working as an actor means you are never just banking the money by yourself. Taraji said that 80% of her money goes to her team. This means an agent, a manager, a social media manager, a hairstylist, a makeup artist, a regular stylist, a lawyer, an accountant. If you got businesses on the side like she does, a business manager. Which is why, damn, this is some good tea. Which is why, even though I have aspirations to move into Hollywood, I've been advised to hold tight onto my social media influence and my foothold in the digital content space, because apparently that's where the money is supposed to be. But I hate to say it, and I hope I don't sound ridiculous, but the money's not there either. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine asked me what it's like to be a black woman working in the space that I'm working. And at first I didn't think that I had an answer, and I felt bad because I felt privileged, because I've been able to carve out a space where I don't have to deal with microaggressions on a daily basis, or I don't have to deal with people mansplaining to me on a daily basis, or I don't have to deal with structural racism, or I don't have to deal with systemic policies that affect my ability to move and shake. And what the hell was I thinking? Because as I began to think about the year that I've been having, I've recognized that as a black woman, I'm continuing to be undervalued. I'm continuing to be underpaid. People are continuing to play with my money. And like Taraji, in order for me to do the amount of work I need to do to make a living, I have to have a team. And when you're a social media influencer, you also have to pay for the production of things. Hello? So that's 90% of your income. And I was going to have this conversation with y'all anyway, but I'm glad Miss Taraji started, because there's a couple things that she said that I want to get into. Number one is that she said she has to stay gracious in her line of work, which means she has to continue to let people smile and laugh in her face and not give her just due. Otherwise, she can be blackballed and labeled as difficult. And this hit home for me especially because the level of grace and patience and poise black women are supposed to extend all the time in spite of themselves is so frustrating. Because I would be wrong if I were to call the school that asked me to come and speak to their children and offer to give me a check in hand, and when I got there, they had no check for me, and I still got on the stage and talked to them kids. Mind you, this was the last thing that I was paid to do this year, which happened in October, and I still haven't got my money yet. I'd be labeled difficult if I were to name the company that has consistently underpaid me to do an overwhelming amount of work. A company that I found out was paying my male colleague the same amount of money as me, even though I have 6 to 7 times the audience that he has, and a market increase in engagement. Then I'd be difficult. Then I'd be hard to work with. Then I'd be ungrateful. Which leads me to another thing that I didn't like about this. This is not the first time Taraji has spoken about her pay gap, because she's been underpaid over the duration of her career. She spoke about it in her memoir in 2016. She's talked about it in interviews various times, but it's not until this black woman was crying and vulnerable and exposing herself that we started to engage in empathy and sympathy en masse. This clip went viral in seconds, but when Monique had something to say about her being underpaid, y'all paid that woman dust. You abandoned her. You said she was doing too much, but was she wrong? Hello? Meanwhile, Netflix over here paying people who's not even funny, culturally incompetent, derogatory even, to do specials. But you can't pay Monique her just due. I don't know. Black women don't get to stand on business about theirs. They continue to be manipulated. They continue to be taken advantage of. And they're made out to be the problem when they get frustrated and angry with how they're being treated. I was so touched by seeing Miss Taraji start the conversation in this way, because I just had a breakdown myself a couple weeks ago. Because after working myself like a dog consistently over and over and over again, it wasn't until most recently that I recognized that I was putting myself under an immense and outrageous amount of pressure, trying to be fair, trying to value the people that work for me, because when I don't eat, they don't eat. But how can they eat if I'm not eating? And then to take it a step further, when I decline opportunities because I don't feel valued, that means I'm straining my team and myself even more, because to value myself means nobody's getting paid. You have no idea the amount of conversations I've had in recent weeks with the amount of black women creatives who are in similar positions of not getting invoices paid on time, people lowballing them for their services, who feel exhausted at their wits' end, and like Taraji are considering career changes because this just isn't working for them. I know you say, oh, Lene, everybody's going through hard times right now. All that means is that the projects with black people are not being prioritized. 2020, y'all had all this money and all these funds to get to all these black people, wanted to do all these programs and all these things. But every time you fail to advocate for these black people and these black things to be paid for and to become compensated for their work, you are showing us over and over again that you are choosing not to go to bat for us or protect us. It's not policy, it's not matter of fact, it is a choice. Taraji P. Henson is a legend. We know she don't work the hell out of every script she's ever gotten. So while y'all laughing at acrimony, we just want to know how she got on the boat. The money that was not put into figuring out how she would get on the boat, the money that was not put into set design or additional cast or whatever other comments you have to say about the movie, was put into that woman's salary so she could be paid. And she's talked about how she only got 2% of what Brad Pitt made on The Case of Benjamin Button. You might be saying, well, in A, it's Brad Pitt and he was the lead. Okay, well, let's talk about hidden figures. And we love you, Kevin Costner, for loving Whitney Houston, but I want to know how much was carved out for your salary that took away from Taraji, that took away from Octavia Spencer, that took away from Janelle Monáe to create a white savior character that didn't even exist in real life. And the most frustrating thing is, what are we supposed to do about it? This is why you see people like Taraji P. Henson, like Marseille Martin, like Issa Rae, like Tracee Ellis Ross, with these forward-facing additional entrepreneurial endeavors because the money is just not there. This is why you see people like me going on tours. This is why you see people like me pulling out shameless bucks for a tea brand, a teacup brand that they're finna launch. Because we gotta protect ourselves. Even if someone like Taraji were to stop acting, to go and do something else, the answer is never rest in response to your self-liberation. It's just more work.
And there, my friends, is the tea. So, again, you're probably wondering and thinking, well, how does this pertain to me? Why is this important to me? This is some Hollywood stuff. This is some creator stuff, some social media influencer stuff. But really, take a look at what's around you. Take a look at your own situation. And I just want to encourage you, first and foremost, to know your worth and stand on your business. If we do anything, if we move differently in any way, if the conversations that we are having are shaped or changed in any way in 2024, let that be the forefront of that. You heard those labels. I've heard those labels. I'm sure if you personally or others you know have heard those labels, that you're labeled when you know your worth, that you've been labeled when you stand on your business, that you've been labeled when you stand 10 toes down in what you know and how you move. But don't let that rock you. Don't let that move you off of what you know to be true, what you know that you come to the table with. That one no, shake that off. As hard as it may be to shake that no off and keep pressing on and keep pressing forward, because your yes is coming. And what is for you is for you. Remember that. Just remember that. Mr. Jesse.
I don't know. I mean, I just think look, if we're gonna have the conversation, we're gonna have the damn conversation. And it's not, because we're not gonna be mincing no daggone words, because what it really all comes like, this is nothing new. It's nothing new. And what I find funny was, like, everybody in 2020 after George Floyd was murdered and all these people, I mean, on national television, mind you, all of these companies they came out with all these diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And slowly but surely since then, they've all dismantled their programs.
Fired them folks with a quick.
Exactly. So what I would like to see is some action steps for us. Like, we already know what the problem is. We don't need another video, describing the problem. We know what it is. It's been the same problem since 1692. So what is the solution? And the solution is really in what she said, but she didn't really elaborate on it enough for me. Was she said that she has her own entrepreneurial endeavors. You have got to, in this current setup, own or control something. Period.
So shout out to my friend of of the the podcast. I'll call it that. Friend of the podcast, friend of the Saturday morning tea, Miss Sharon Easterling, who I had a wonderful, beautiful conversation with a couple of days ago. And I don't know if you remember this, Mr. Jesse, but in one of our early conversations, we talked about an association and putting together an association for folks that look like us in this healthcare field. And the first thing that came out of her mouth when I said, probably after I said, hello, how are you? We finished those pleasantries was, where is the organization? I said, oh, it kind of slipped my mind. Let me bring that back up. I said, we need to have that conversation. And she's like, because we got folks out here. We see y'all. We waiting. We willing. We willing to pull up, roll up sleeves and do all of the things. Let's she said, oh yeah, I remember very well about the association. She's like, we out here, we waiting. I said, okay, well, then we need to have some additional conversations. If you out there, you willing, you ready, let's chat. Let's chat. I see an opportunity in the wings. I've had other conversations with other folks. They out here, they're questioning, they're looking for some assistance, they're trying to figure it out. Let's talk. Let's talk. Mr. Jesse, you wanna?
That's why I am really a fan of the meeting after the meeting, and the Patreon that's associated with the Saturday morning tea, because like we discuss in the meetings after the meeting, like, truth be told, entrepreneurship is the only way out. And there's a lot of obstacles to entrepreneurship, guaranteed, just by the nature of it, and also because we're working at a deficit. We don't have systems in place. We don't have structures in place that can pull us along like our other counterparts. So that's why it's important for us to create it. And we in the meeting after the meeting, we really give out some seriously good information, quality information about how you can grow as an entrepreneur.
That's right.
And I just think that, you know, we just need to start making those kind of opportunities um, more readily available for our community. And we also need to just really we have to come up with uh, just a better coping mechanism, because I think that somewhere along the line, it has gotten like our our history of struggle has gotten lost. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like we have a whole new generation that is coming along, and they're like shocked that this is happening. Like, where have you been? Like, who raised you? You like, seriously, like, if you really are just now just befuddled at the state of the workplace, like, somebody has seriously failed you in the cultural aspects of your upbringing.
I think some of that is we may have done harm uh to our young folks because we try to protect them and we try to show them to the crafty coder's point and Ti and his son. Like, he tried to keep him out of the streets. He tried to he already knew what that life was about. And so his job as a parent was to not have his son go the route in which he went. So he tried to protect him. So he tried to provide opportunities for him that didn't exist for him, but so that he can see a better and a different way. Did he not? And I don't know, and I can't say for certain. But in doing that, did you not tell them about it though? And maybe he didn't, because and maybe we don't tell him about the struggle. We don't tell him, or we didn't tell him about the struggle. We didn't tell him about whatever, because we were so focused on trying to find a different way, or trying to get them to a different level, or trying to prepare them for. But then once they get out there and they get hit, like, well, what is this? And we do that here. We try to prepare folks like it's all great once you get in, but be prepared for what happens when you get in. Because trust me, it's coming for you. And if you're not prepared, you're gonna be like, well, what is this? So maybe that's why for some, it sounds new. And that's probably why they're clueless, and sometimes they don't even recognize it when it hits. That's the other part. Like, you ain't hear what she just said to you. You ain't hear that microaggression coming out at you. You ain't hear that mansplaining that just happened in this conversation right here. You didn't hear that. They don't even know, because unfortunately, I'll probably say, as parents, we may have done a disservice because we were trying to protect them from what we had to go through, and not necessarily thinking we're preparing them, but not preparing them enough by also breaking down piece by piece what it looks like, what it means, what they're trying to say. And I'll share this. My daughter has her first um uh corporate position, and she calls me every day, like, okay, did I do this right? Am I saying this? What because unfortunately, we all know code shifting exists. And sometimes folks have to make a choice. Do I code shift today to keep my lights on? Or do I come out as who I am and then search for another job? And those are choices that we have to make every day, oftentimes, every single day. We shouldn't have to do that. But we also need to explain to our children that may be a choice for you. Now, the one thing about this generation, they like deuces real quick. If it don't look right, feel right, oftentimes they like, we out. But they still need to understand and remember what it looked like, what it felt like, and share that information for others coming behind, or even with them, so that everybody can be prepared. And I think this is an opportunity to have those conversations.
But
I think you're absolutely right about our Patreon and the meeting after the meeting. This is where it gets real. When I tell you we get real, it gets real. And so we invite you all, check out the link in the description. Come on over and check out a meeting after the meeting. Because this is probably where we're gonna have these conversations even about this organization. But go ahead, Mr. Jesse.
what just to wrap it up, because we're almost at the top of the hour, but when it comes to, like, there's one thing to shelter your child, but you also have to prepare your child for the real world, and
True.
that is what we have not done,
True.
because we have done what Dr. Martin Luther King said right before he was assassinated, that he fears that he integrated his people into a burning building.
Mm,
And this is what a lot of people have done to their children. They have basically um, poured blood on their children and thrown them in the water under the
mm,
guise of coddling them or making it easy for them. Because what are you making it easy for them from? Because the same systems that were in place when you were around are in place now. And these millennials who are saying deuces, they're leaving, but the structure's not changing.
no. So they're not
And
in there
so,
fighting to make any.
right,
Yeah,
and
you're
it's
right.
not going to, because it is the power dynamic is so skewed. That's
Hmm.
why they've been able to maintain power and control,
Hundreds of
because
years in the making.
because you cannot dismantle a system. What you have to do is create your own, where you can be okay and don't
Hmm.
even participate in that one.
You're
And
absolutely
I don't
right.
understand why this because it's out of control, because there are too many young people who are depressed. There are too many young people who are in therapy over something you should have been prepared for your entire life.
Yes.
So when you go out there, you can recognize it and handle it. and
You're
and
right.
we need to start telling these people, listen, you, it's great that you have this job, but you need to set a goal. You need to have a strategy. What is it that you want to get out of this role? And when you get it, be okay to move on.
You're
So
right.
when things, so not if things go left, when things go left, you have ticked off something that you need that's going to set you up for success in the future, because the game is never going to change. I'm
Say it,
done.
sir. Say it, sir. Say it, sir.
Because
Um,
that's what I do. Every job I have, I when I before I start, I have one thing I want to accomplish, and I set a goal, and when I get it, if things go left, okay, all right, ain't no problem, because I know I've set myself up for the next time.
mhm.
I put myself in a better position. Yeah, I've never been tied to a job. I'm tied to money. I'm tied to sleeping indoors and eating what I want to eat.
Say it, sir. Say it, sir. And moving how you want to move and
That's
doing how you
right.
want to do.
Period.
Um, under your way. And to your point, entrepreneurship is the way to go. And there are opportunities and ways in which, even in our industry, even with the certifications we have, even with the skill set that we bring, that can happen.
Hmm.
That can happen. I feel better. I do. I was on 10 all last night going through all of this, like, wait a minute, but wait a minute, but wait a minute. I just kept on, but wait a minute, but wait a minute. So this has been helpful for me, and therapy for me. So thank y'all. And thank you, Mr. Jesse. You do sometimes know how to bring me up. Normally, I'm not the one. Normally, it's you. But you, you know how to bring me down off the ledge. Because I was like, this right here, yeah, this right here is crazy. But I'm glad, and um, I hope that you all, there's some takeaways from this. I hope that you heard us. I hope that there are things that you can apply. I hope there's things that you can recognize, even in some of the information that we presented today. And I know this is not our traditional Saturday morning tea, but I still feel the tea was spilled. I still feel that we still got a lot of work to do. We still got a lot of work to do. And um, we're willing. If you're willing, we're willing. It can all be so simple. I swear I'm
Hmm.
it can all be so simple. But everybody rather makes it hard. So we are at the top of the hour. Are we coming next week?
I don't have a problem.
Okay, well we'll be back next week. This won't be our last one for the year. We'll come in the new year, um, probably on fire with some more tea that we can share for you. For those of you who are part of the Patreon, I'm sending your link now. So you can go out there and get the link to join us for the meeting after the meeting. Again, this has been the Saturday morning tea. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for participating in the conversation. And even if you were silent and participating alone, thank you for channeling and sending your positive thoughts and vibes as we discuss uh, probably not the a different type of conversation. I'll say that. A different type of conversation that really needs to be had. And we probably need to, as Mr. Jesse mentioned, um, dig a little deeper and put together the action steps. And we will do that in the meeting after the meeting, in the meeting after the meetings, because it's going to take way more than just one meeting to do that. And again, if you want to be part of that, then come on over um, on our Patreon. If this information was valuable for you, or you feel like you need to share this information with somebody else because they need to hear this information, feel free to do so. But you can also um, subscribe to the channel, share the video, like the video. The more engagement we have, the more eyeballs get to hear this message and see this message, and may be willing to participate and assist us in the upcoming endeavor for 2024.
You
But
have
we
a
got a lot on
question.
our plate. Yes, sir.
You have a
I got a question.
question in the chat before we go.
For the next sessions, is there a way I can get the recording and link for next sessions for next week? If there are any of the sessions that you want, you can actually join our YouTube. They are for our Saturday morning tea. They sit on YouTube, so you can always go and take a look at all of the recordings that we have there, if that's what you mean. Or email me if I'm not answering your question appropriate. You can email me. Wait a minute. Here's my. You can email me here if I'm not answering your question. Do you understand that question? Do you think I answered
Yeah, I think.
it?
Well, well, our live streams are then posted on both of our respective YouTube channels, and
Mm-hmm.
in order to be informed of the next sessions, you have to subscribe to either my channel or Clarice's channel or both of our channels. And when we go live, you'll receive notifications that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that answers. Prayerfully, that answers. All right. So, I didn't have to say that part because he just said that. So feel free to subscribe to our channel and check out the Coding Nurse channel. That's Mr. Jesse's channel over on YouTube. And as you leave, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button. Again, that engagement allows for others to hear and see us. This has been a great session. Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas, Mr. Jesse.
Thank you,
Um,
same to you and everybody.
yes, yes. Merry Christmas. Be safe out here in these streets. And remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Until next time, make it a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
And I want to say, Crafty Coder, make sure you come to the meeting after the meeting because I have Papa Smurf stories.
Oh, Lord. That teaser right there should do it. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.